Hello students, in today's lecture we will discuss the zeolite process for water softening. For water softening for industrial usage, there are so many methods available. With the help of them we can remove the calcium and magnesium ions from the hard water and thereby making it suitable to be used in industries. So, for the softening of water, that is removal of calcium and magnesium ions, we have lime soda process, we have zeolite process, we have ion exchange process, and there are some internal treatment methods as well which can be employed to avoid the problems caused by hard water in industries. So today in this lecture we will discuss the zeolite process. The lime soda process we have already discussed. Zeolites are actually a special type of porous stones like structure. They are also known as permutates, and if we say their chemical structure, so they are actually hydrated sodium aluminosilicates. Here you can see a general formula for the zeolites. Sodium aluminosilicates, they are actually a mixture of different oxides occurring naturally, and they can be found in nature in the natural state known as natural zeolites. They are like non-porous green sand, but it is also possible for us to prepare zeolite synthetically in the laboratory. You can mix certain type of clays in a definite proportion, and when you heat it, zeolites are formed. So what is the difference between natural and synthetic zeolite? The natural zeolite is having non-porous structure, but synthetic zeolites are having porous structure with gel-like structure. So our purpose of water softening is best dealt with the synthetic zeolite due to their porous nature. What is affecting this process is actually the porosity of zeolite. When zeolite is having porous structure, it is offering more surface area to the water for the softening process. Now what happens when you pass the water through zeolite? How it is getting soft? How calcium and magnesium ions are removed? So zeolites are actually represented as Na2Ze. Na2 is actually written here to show that zeolite, which is represented as Z, is having exchangeable, reversibly exchangeable sodium ions. It means that when you pass water through the zeolite, the sodium ions present on the zeolite surface are exchanged with all the positive ions like calcium ion and magnesium ions present in hard water. They are exchanged, and calcium and magnesium ions are trapped by the zeolite, and in return of those ions, equal number of sodium ions are returned to the water to maintain electric neutrality. So this type of ion exchange is basically reversible in nature, and in this manner what happens? The water is softened. So basically when you employ zeolite process, there are two cycles. One is the softening cycle, another one is the regeneration cycle. Here is a zeolite represented as Na2Z. What happens? Hard water containing calcium and magnesium ions and so many other anions like chloride and sulfate, the acid radicals, it is passed through the zeolite having exchangeable sodium ion, and what happens? The sodium ions came into the water, and this zeolite actually retains calcium and magnesium ion. So it means that calcium and magnesium ions are left behind inside the zeolite, and what happens? Sodium ions are now present in the water. However, you can notice that the negative ions are still here. These acid radicals are not removed by the zeolite process. After this, after passing hard water through the zeolite, you get the softened water. Softened water is simply the water devoid of calcium and magnesium ion. Because hardness is due to calcium and magnesium ion, if they are not present, we call it softened water. So now this water can be employed in industries wherever we require soft water to be used. Now what happens? The concentration of these exchangeable sodium ion in the zeolite is constant. Obviously there must be certain number of sodium ions which can be exchanged. When you continuously pass hard water through the zeolite, at a certain point what happens, all the sodium ions are exchanged with calcium and magnesium ion, and now the zeolite is what? Exhausted. Exhausted means now the zeolite is not capable of exchanging further any calcium and magnesium ion, since all the sites are already occupied by calcium and magnesium ion. And now if you pass hard water through it, it will go like with the same chemical concentration, it will pass through the zeolite. So no ion exchange will be there. So what happens now? Now we have to regenerate the zeolite. What is the process of regeneration? How can we regenerate the zeolite? Since the calcium and magnesium ions present in the zeolite are again reversibly exchangeable, we pass brine through the zeolite. Brine is concentrated solution of NaCl, sodium chloride. So when you pass brine, the sodium chloride solution, through the zeolite, what happens? Again now the calcium and magnesium ions are exchanged with the sodium ion, but now this process is actually reversed. Now the sodium ions are coming inside the zeolite and calcium and magnesium ion are coming into the solution. So when you pass the brine solution through the zeolite, what happens? Calcium and magnesium ions are present in water now, and this water is actually rejected. It is of no use, it is like a wash water. And what happens as a result of this process? The zeolite is regenerated in the form of Na2Z. Now it is capable of further performing the softening cycle. Now see the next. What is the chemical reaction happening in the process of softening? So you can see here that the zeolite is Na2Z, and when you pass hard water through it, the hard water may have a temporary hardness, or it may have permanent hardness due to chloride and sulfate, whatever type of hardness is there. Because zeolite has no impact on these negative ions, so whatever type of hardness is there, the calcium and magnesium ion will always be removed. They are trapped with the zeolite. So here the calcium Z, magnesium Z are actually representing the exhausted zeolite. And what happens? The sodium ions are coming into the water by combining with the negative ion. So sodium ions are actually not responsible for any sort of hardness. So now this water is what? Soft. However, the acid radicals are still present. Now the chemical reactions of regeneration. What are the chemical reactions of regeneration? So when you pass the brine through the exhausted zeolite, what happens? These calcium ions are coming into the brine and the sodium ions are coming to the zeolite. So here again zeolite Na2Z is formed, and this calcium chloride is actually goes into the wash water. So as a result of regeneration, when you pass the brine through the zeolite, it is regenerated, and now it is capable of performing fresh softening cycle. Now let us talk about the advantages and limitations of this process in brief. So what are the advantages of this process? The very first advantage is it results into complete removal of hardness. Calcium and magnesium ions are removed completely. Second thing is that the equipment we are using here, the zeolite equipment, is very compact and it occupies a very little space. Then this process can be employed for a variety of concentration. Different type of water samples can be used. It means that for water containing lesser hardness, water containing higher amount of calcium and magnesium ion, any sort of water with varying concentration of calcium and magnesium ion can be employed in this process. It can also work under pressure. If the water is coming in the zeolite with a certain pressure, then also this process is equally effective, and therefore we can install the zeolite into the water supply line itself. Then it does not involve any precipitation. No precipitate is forming, no sludge is forming, which is again a very huge advantage, since these are actually causing meanness in lime and soda process. A huge amount of precipitate is formed which we need to filter, and if the filtration is not effective, then the precipitate particles left inside the water causing further problems. So it is a huge benefit that there is no formation of precipitate or sludge. What are the limitations? This process is also having so many limitations, like when you pass the water through the zeolite, it should not have turbidity or suspended matter. What happens in this case, that the porous structure of zeolite will be clogged. So we cannot use water having turbidity and suspended matter inside the zeolite. Then the water you are using is should not be acidic or alkaline, because any alteration in pH can destroy the zeolite. So ideally the pH of water should be near to 7. It cannot tolerate acidic or alkaline water. The change in the pH may destroy the zeolite. Now another thing is that if the water contains Fe2 plus and Mn2 plus, iron and ferrous and manganese ion, what happens? They are also getting exchanged into the zeolite, and now they are combined with the zeolite irreversibly. They form a stable complex with zeolite, and therefore when you pass the brine, they are not removed. So what happens when you pass this water through the zeolite? This process is irreversible, and now the zeolite cannot be regenerated. Similarly, you cannot use hot water because this also destroys the zeolite. Then another limitation is acid radicals are not removed. As you have seen that the calcium and magnesium ions are exchanged. But what happens? The sulfate ion, chloride ion, bicarbonate ion are still here. So these acid radicals are still there in the water. The last one is the treated water TDS, total dissolved solid, is more as compared of that in a lime soda process. The water we get in the lime soda process after the treatment containing very less amount of total dissolved solid as compared to the zeolite process. Why is it so? Because in the zeolite process, again I want to show you that sodium salts are here and they are causing increase in the TDS of water. So this was all about zeolite process. Thank you so much.